What's up, Tackle Warehouse fans? Jake here bringing you this week's episode of What's New at TW. We're going to try a second round here. We had some technical difficulties on the first go around. First off, let's talk about some sale items. So today is the first day of our 12 days of savings sale. Now I know what you're thinking. We've always done a 25 days of savings sale. So what we're doing this year, we're keeping the sale the same length of time. So it's still going to roll all the way till January 5th. We're just unleashing all the products earlier so people have access to them earlier in the month versus later on down the month and even past Christmas. So we're gonna release all the products in a 12-day window instead of stretching out over 25 days. So today, it's the first day. Today's rod day. So there's a bunch of good rod deals out there. Make sure you get a new rod for the next fishing season and stay tuned for all the deals that are coming out. You know, there's a bunch of hot deals that are gonna be going on in the 12 days of savings sale. Buy yourself something cool, get yourself get a gift for something special in your life. And let's get right into the baits. So the first one up here, something that's really near and dear to me, so a real special bait here from Hog Hunter Lures. So we have the Hog Hunter Mag Trout swim baits. I can't express how stoked we are at Tackle Warehouse to finally get these in at TW and be able to sell these to our customers. So a little bit about the Magnum Trout. The Hog Hunter Mag Trout is 9.5 inches long. It's 5.6 ounces. It's got a sink rate of about 8 feet per 10 seconds. Comes with a 6.0 jig hook on the top, and it's got some accessory eyelets on the top and the bottom, so you can add your own stinger hook. You can add weight on there if you wanted to. You know, you can run trebles on the top and the bottom, whatever you'd like, outfit it however you want. This is one of the best swim baits, in my opinion, this is one of the best swim baits ever created. Just out of the package, it's one of the most highly realistic baits out there on the market. When you take a look at these things, I mean, the 3D fins on the sides, the gill plates, the eyes, open mouth design, you just can't get a more realistic, trout fish looking swim bait out there on the market. And when you put this thing in the water, it's amazing how it swims. So even on the sink, when this thing's sinking through the water column, those little fins on the side, they shimmy and you get that nice secondary action, has that slow tail kick, and it even, the head even kicks back and forth just a little bit. Like I said, it's unbelievable when you get these things in the water. Now, we worked with Eric over at Hog Hunter Baits, and we got a couple colors that we wanted specifically that they didn't offer before. So we have the TW Hatchery Trout, just a little bit darker of a finish, has more dots in it, just really looks like those fish that come right out of the truck when they dump them in the lake. The second one is a TW Gizzard Shad. Now this is a color we wanted that's gonna be great for all over the country. I mean, a lot of places where you don't have trout, this is gonna be the option for you. So it looks like a really big gizzard shad. I mean, those TVA lakes, this is gonna be a great option for those places when you have those big gizzard shads, down in Texas, places like that. But anywhere where you just have, larger forage, this is a great swim bait. Just that silver finish, the scale pattern. There's some blue up there on the top. There's a little bit of purple down the side. It just looks fishy. So, any place where you got like maybe hitch, suckers, big big different types of shad, all kinds of stuff like that, this thing's gonna get bit. It's even a good one for maybe some of those places in Northern California when you have kokanee. Some of those kokanee have a real silver finish to it, and this is really gonna match that up really, really well. Like I said, it's one of my favorite baits of all time. This is actually the first one I ever got. As you can see, it's pretty chewed and it's caught in some big fish. The first day I ever threw one of these, I actually caught a fish that was 10.5 pounds, and it's seen a lot more damage since then as well. I mean, back before we used to sell them at TW, it was almost like a backdoor drug deal. You had to know someone who knew someone to be able to get one. It was a pain to get your hands on one. Now you can get them at Tackle Warehouse. One of my favorite swim baits of all time, and probably one of the most effective for catching big fish. These things are made for catching giants, and you will not be disappointed if you pick one up. Next up, we got another exclusive swim bait, or a couple exclusive swim baits here to TW. So these are from Bait Sanity. So we worked with Fahad on these to get a couple colors in the Antidote series. Fahad's an awesome guy. We've done some cool projects with him in the past. Now in the future, now we got some going on right now, and we have some projects going on in the future, so make sure you stay tuned. So the two new colors that we got in the Antidote series is the TW Steelhead, which is a color we had in the Explorer, and we brought it into the Antidote, which is a smaller size bait, and then TW Gizzard Shad as well. Really cool baits, kind of your middle-sized swim bait, and something you don't really need to jump into, a specialized extra heavy size rod with a 400 size reel and 20, 30-pound line to throw these. You can get away with, you know, your heavy flipping stick and do just fine with this size bait. Even an oversized crank rod you can throw with these size bait because it has that nice parabolic action for loading up a fish on treble hooks. Really cool glide bait. It comes in, I believe it's 7 or 7.5 inches long. It weighs 2.7 ounces. So like I said, you don't need a whole giant setup to throw these things. This gizzard shad that we did, really cool finish on it. One that you really need to take out of the package and look at it in the sun to appreciate. Got a lot of silver on the sides, really dark back on it. But on the top, the kind of top portion of the scales, there's kind of a mirror finish to it. And when you roll that thing around and it shines and reflects in the sun, it's a really cool looking color. I think it's gonna be great for places with those bigger shad, or the places where you got really clear water. You're just gonna get that extra shine out of it and be able to attract fish from a little bit greater distance away. All right, the last swim bait we got up here is from Owner. This is the Bariken Swimmer swim bait. Really cool soft plastic swim bait. And this is, you know, moving on down the scale, this is the smallest of all the swim baits I got here today. And this one is another one you don't really need specialized gear to throw this. You can throw this on your jig rod, 15-pound line, you'd be just fine. Smaller profile, 6-inch bait. This is a really cool bait. It has a really wide body and it's really fat down in the belly of it. And then it has that nice paddle tail. So it kicks really good. And then it's gonna roll side to side as well. With this bait, since it's actually made by Owner, all the hardware on the bottom is premium hardware. So you don't have to change anything out when you get it out of the package. So you're gonna have Owner split rings, Owner swivels, Owner ST36 hook already installed on there. In the belly, there is a molded hook slot to put one of the points of the treble in there. It's got those nice fins that kind of, you know, kind of camouflage it a little bit so it doesn't stick out as much. And then right in the center of the body, there's another molded cavity where you can actually add your own nail weight. So if you want to adjust the sink rate up and down, target different areas of the water column, this is gonna be a great bait. So it comes in at $14.99, and you can also just fish, you know, all different sections of the water column with this, and you can catch all different sizes of bass. So, I mean, a swim bait that size, anything from 10-inch bass will attack this all the way to 10-pound bass. So really cool swim bait. Got some really cool colors there. Check that one out from Owner. So if you're not a swim bait guy, maybe soft plastics, craws, and worms more your jam, we got a few for you here as well. This first one, we've been waiting for this one for a long time to get in. This one is from Berkley. We've been waiting since ICAST. This is the Berkley Shape 108 craw. One of the sweetest craw baits out there on the market right now. Actually, one of our pro staffers, John Cox, was having a phenomenal year fishing this bait before anyone was able to get their hands on it besides these other Berkley pro staffers. Down to the St. John's, he weighed in a 30-pound bag in a tournament, caught an 11-pounder in a tournament up at the James River. He actually caught a 9-pound northern strain largemouth on this bait, so just a big fish catching bait for him. But it's also super versatile as well, not just a big fish catching bait. This is the biggest of the 3 sizes, so there's a 4-inch, a 3.5, and a 3. So that little 3-inch guy is gonna be really good on like a small football head here coming up in the wintertime. Comes in the clamshell package, so keeps everything nice and straight. You don't have to worry about the claws getting kinked or anything like that. Got a nice rib body, and down on the main section of it, it's got some nice little side legs, and then those 2 pretty aggressive kicking feet on there. And it's Berkley power bait, so it's loaded with scent. It's not a max scent, so it has that more traditional soft plastic look, but it's loaded with scent. Gonna be good, you know, just adding that power bait just helps you catch more fish. Fish hang on to it and gives you more time to set the hook. Overall, really cool craw bait there from Berkley. We're stoked to finally get in. Next one here, new worm. I'm actually super pumped about this one from Yamamoto Baits. This is the Yamamoto Slinko. So in the package, they come in a clamshell package as well, so they keep everything perfectly straight, nice and organized. You don't have to worry about your worms getting kinked up or anything like that. When we heard about this thing before ICAST, I think I was the only one that was stoked on it till we actually got them in stock, and some of the other guys in the office are pretty excited to try them out as well. So the Slinko is a very similar profile to a standard 5-inch Senko, but has a heavily ribbed body. And this is not made from the same plastic as a traditional Senko. It's not a heavy salt bait. So this is made out of their floater plastic. So what that's gonna do for you is that tail is gonna stand straight up on the bottom and just get insane action. You don't really need to move it at all because it's so thin through the main body with all that ribbing on there. It just catches water and moves really, really well. Where this worm is really gonna shine is on like your shaky heads, Nico rigs, and stuff like that. You know, Texas rigs. We actually have a really cool vlog with Jared Littner and Cody Meyer flipping deep grass up in New York, and Cody Meyer's Texas rigging this thing and catching a lot of really good fish. I'm excited to even throw it on like a little split shot rig, on a Carolina rig. Just an awesome worm to have in the arsenal from Yamamoto. Like I said, if you're looking for, Nico rig worm, chicken rig, shaky head, whatever you want, something where you want that tail to stand up on the bottom, that's gonna be the worm for you from Yamamoto. All right, a few other soft plastics here. From Lunker Hunt, we got a couple for you today. The first one here is their Versa worm, and from the name, Versa worm, it is a super versatile soft plastic worm. So when you look at it right out of the package, you think it's just, maybe like a wacky rig worm, but you can actually do a bunch of different stuff with this. It's made out of a super tough plastic, and it's really buoyant as well. If you throw this on a weightless wacky hook, the Lunker Hunt guys are actually twitching this thing across the surface and actually gets a really cool action. So just something a little bit different. You can fish in ponds and stuff and skip it across the surface and catch some topwater fish. But on that weighted wacky jig head, it'll sink, and those two little tails are gonna dance and make a lot of movement, make a lot of vibration. You can drop shot it, you can throw it on a Texas rig, you can split shot it, you can do a ton of different stuff with it. Shaky head if you want, just a really cool worm there from Lunker Hunt. And the next one, this one I'm actually pretty pumped to try out here. Since it's getting cold and we're gonna have to slow down, drop shot, you want that stuff that's got that really finesse kind of action, this is gonna be a good one for that. The Lunker Hunt Hover Shot. So really capturing kind of that goby, bait fish, shad, even leech, kind of profile. Everything eats bait fish that are kind of that size, that 3.5 inch size. With this one, it's made out of that similar material. And when you throw it on like a drop shot and it sinks all the way to the bottom and it hits the bottom, because it's a buoyant plastic, it sits perfectly horizontal when it hits the bottom, and it's not gonna just sink straight to the bottom like a heavily salted bait. So you're gonna be able to sit there and hold this thing right in fish's face when you have it on a drop shot or something like that. So really, really cool worm. You can nose hook it. You can throw it on a jig head, fish straight down for suspended fish. Throw it out, and try to catch fish that are on, that you're seeing on the forward-facing sonar. Down on the tail here, it just has that little spade tail, so it just has a really subtle quivering action. Not like a paddle tail swim bait or anything like that. Just got a really cool finesse bait fish profile plastic there. All right, spring's almost here. I know, we're only in December, but before you know it, January, February is going to be here. There's guys down in Florida, down in South Texas, going to be, fishing for pre-spawn fish before we know it. So during that time of the year, one of the best baits, lipless crankbaits. That's what a lot of people throw that time of the year, especially on the grass lakes. Fish them over the grass beds, ripping them out of grass and doing all that kind of stuff. This is something new to add to your lipless crankbait arsenal. So from Headhunter Lures, this is the Firetail Rattler line through lipless crankbait. When I say line through, because it has a full unique line through system. So you run your line through there, you tie it off, and you're good to go. And now whenever you hook a fish, you get them on that front hook, that bait's gonna separate, slide up the main line, and now you have the fish pinned on just a treble hook. So what that's gonna do for you is it's gonna help reduce that leverage, and when fish are fighting, they're not gonna be able to twist and pry the hook out of their mouth like they can when they're hooked on a lure, and they can twist around and shake free. So with that line through system, you're gonna be able to, it's gonna help you land more fish. So if you're getting ready for that pre-spawn season, this might be something you wanna throw in the box and maybe try out, and maybe increase your landing ratios a little bit there from Headhunter Lures. All right, we're gonna go into a few terminal pieces. One here from Spro, super interesting. We actually got 3 from Spro, but this one is one I'm excited about in particular. Kind of hard to hold in my hand after I'm greasing up with power bait, but this is a new tungsten slide weight system. So what this little weight is designed to do is designed to go onto the shank, or like the belly section, the belly section of the shank of like an EWG hook or like an unweighted screw lock hook, and add weight to it and turn your regular old hook into like a weighted swim bait hook. So add this onto your EWG and you now have a weighted swim bait hook, or you put whatever other kind of soft plastics you want to rig on there, but now you have a weighted version. What's really cool about this is it's tungsten, and you're not gonna have that big ball of lead like most of the weighted swim bait hooks on the market have lead on the shank of the hook. And when you start getting into those bigger sizes, that the piece of lead that's on the bottom of those hooks is pretty substantial. That tungsten is gonna be much more compact. Also, the keeper system, it's kind of a rubber keeper that's molded into that. So you can actually shift the weight up to the head of the bait, down in the belly, and kind of alter the way it sinks. So you can have your bait really sink head first. You can kind of put it in the middle, kind of have it sink more horizontal fashion. And then on the bottom of it, there's another eyelet so you can add a split ring and add a blade to the bottom. So, you know, throw a couple of these in your arsenal, you know, sometimes you don't always have like a screw lock swim bait hook. And you generally have like some worm hooks or EWGs or something like that. You can take one of those hooks, turn it into a weighted swim bait hook. Then you can also add the blade on there and make an underspin, make a fully weedless underspin. Really cool accessory to just put in your terminal box. Some more terminal from Spro. They actually have a couple new drop shot weights. We're also gonna be getting more hooks and a bunch of other really cool terminal from Spro here in the near future. Their tungsten drop shot weight's really, really nice. We have more of a teardrop shape, and then we have your more traditional cylinder shape, the skinny style drop shot weight. On these, they have the weight stamped right on the side, so you don't have to worry about forgetting what size you got, which is always nice when you're dealing with a bunch of tungsten weights in a box. And on the top, instead of the crimp style or the pinch style line keeper, they actually went to a swiveling line tie, so you tie directly onto it. That's gonna be really nice, especially if you're gonna be fishing your drop shot into heavier cover, maybe doing a power shot, or it gives you a little bit more rigging options, so you can do a free rig. It gives you a little bit more to do with than versus just the regular pinch style. So the tie-on swiveling one is the way to go there. Last little piece terminal we got. This one, I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting for this one. This is from Yum. This is the FF Sonar jig head. Now, this is the jig head that was designed by Jason Christie to fish with his FF Sonar minnow, which was the bait he won the Classic on. So I've been waiting for this thing, you know, since the Classic ended. We're all wondering what that bait was, what the jig head was, and now it's finally out on the market. So get them while you can, especially for the upcoming spring season. A lot of people are, you know, tracking fish on that forward-facing sonar, throwing out ahead of them, especially suspending bass. This is one of the most effective ways to catch them. This jig head, you know, Jason Christie tested a bunch of different hooks, so this shape and style fits perfectly on that Yum Sonar minnow, and this is the one that just fit the best and gave him the best hookup and landing ratio. So really good for any kind of spinning rod applications you're doing. If you're looking for just a nice ball head, this is just a really good ball head. But specifically, if you're fishing that Sonar minnow, that's the jig head that you want to fish with it. All right, from Daiwa, got a sweet new reel. Actually, a bunch of us in the office were really stoked when we pulled this thing out and we were checking it out in the office. This is the new Procyon MQ-LT. Now, this is the MQ technology is actually the monocoque body. Really, really cool feature. The first reel that I ever saw with this was on the Exist. That, you know, that's a $700-800 reel, and now that same technology has trickled all the way down to the Procyon, which is $179. So it's awesome that, you know, years down the road, you're getting the technology in a $179 reel that was previously only available in their flagship reels. So what that monocoque body is going to do for you is that what it means is this whole body down here is all one piece. So there's no extra screws and extra bolts or anything like that. That side plate is stamped right into the side, and it eliminates a lot of water intrusion, and it just makes the whole system, since it's one piece, it just makes it way more rigid and a lot stronger. Reduces some weight as well. When you get some cheaper reels that are made out of multiple components on the body, I mean, you can take them and twist them and flex them and feel there's some flex there. So that's going to keep all those gears in better alignment. And then you're also able to house a bigger gear down on the body, which is going to in turn give you more torquing power. So you're going to get more power with the reel. Up on the top, we got the air bail and the air rotor. So really, really lightweight, and it takes very little force to get this thing to spin, which it just reduces that inertia. So overall, really cool spinning reel, $179. If you got one of those Daiwa Tatula Elite spinning rods, this reel would go awesome with that. And you got that silver on silver look with just a couple blue accents. So really cool reel that you can throw onto one of those Tatula rods or any other rod you got. Really, really lightweight as well. I believe the 2500 size comes in at about 6.9 or 6.8 ounces. So really, really light in the hand. And they also come in some higher gear ratios than most of your other spinning reels out there on the market too. So be able to pick up a little bit more line than some of the other competition. All right, last up, new storage options from Plano. This first one here is the Plano Edge Frog Box. So this is actually the best of show storage system that came out at ICAST this year. So on the inside, a completely new system made to store your frogs. So if you're like me, all your frogs are shoved into a 3700 deep, and over time, you know, some of the legs get torched on them, you get ruined, the hooks stab into each other. and just overall not a good way to store your frogs. This system allows you to hang all your frogs in there individually, keeps them all separated, keeps all those legs straight. Just overall really cool system on how to store frogs. I believe you can fit up to 50 frogs in here. So, you know, holds a lot of frogs, keeps them a lot more organized and better managed than kind of the old ways. It was never really a good way to store frogs. These edge boxes, they have the rust prevention technology, water wicking technology. They got the full gasket on here, so it keeps everything, you know, super watertight. So a really good series of Plano boxes. And the next one we got here, kind of in that same footprint, is their leader management system. So this is set up for anyone who fishes braided leader, or you just use a lot of leaders for different applications. This is perfect for that. So you can put in a bunch of different filler spools and have all your leaders kind of organized however you want them. So you're ready to go and just keep all your leaders better organized, instead of, you know, like what I do, I put them all in a Ziploc bag and they're thrown around and they get damaged, and it doesn't keep everything, you know, very well situated. With these, you got those tension bands on there, so it keeps the line from unraveling. So overall, really good system if you run a lot of braid to leader for spinning rods, or even flipping, doing ocean fishing, and you have a bunch of different kinds of fluorocarbon in here. That's gonna be the way to go right there from Plano, the new Edge leader management system. The last one is a new spinnerbait box. So spinnerbaits are another one of those things that's kind of a pain to organize. Most of the spinnerbait boxes out there are kind of odd shaped, and they kind of don't fit in line in a boat with all your 3700s. It's kind of awkward. This is gonna fit with all your standard size, you know, Planos or whatever you got, those standard like 3700 size footprints. This will fit in there a lot better. And this spinnerbait box, you can hold, I believe there's 50 spinnerbaits in there. I've seen the way John Cox did it when he was organizing his. He was actually putting, you know, 2-3 spinnerbaits in one slot, so he had a ton in there. You know, same technology, rust prevention, the water wicking technology. You know, spinnerbaits are one of those things that can get torn up. You know, the blades can get corroded. All the little pieces of hardware. For that's something that you want to have in a box like this that has that rust prevention and that water wicking technology in there. Just keep all your spinnerbaits in top-notch condition. So awesome new spinnerbait box. I'm actually super stoked to try this one out myself. That's going to wrap up today's episode of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. For more information or to purchase any of the products seen here today, make sure to click shop or the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this week's video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let us know in the comments which one of these products you're most pumped about.